Lisa Leslie came through blazing this scene. She didn't hold back on him. Thank God there's a WNBA legend that's willing to come through and keep it real about this entire Caitlin Clark situation, as we have watched the sabotage from beginning up until...
Lisa Leslie just walked onto ESPN and lit the WNBA front office on fire. Three-time MVP, four-time Olympic gold medalist, the first player to ever dunk in a WNBA game. When she speaks, the league listens. And what she just said about Caitlin Clark is about to cost some people their jobs.
With all of these teams. Look, before the season started, WNBA GMs selected Paige Bueckers as a player they would most like to start a franchise with. What's your reaction to that?
Well, all those GMs probably going to get fired because this is a money business, and the money is about Caitlin Clark, who is the player who has made, never in the history of the WNBA have we had a player force teams to get into larger arenas. I've never seen that happen. And so if you're the GM, you're obviously supposed to be bringing in money. That's revenue.
Right.
I'm going with Caitlin Clark.
Now, that is a fact. There's no...
Catch what she said. The general managers who voted Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark as the player they'd build a franchise around are going to get fired. Not might, going to. Because this is a money business, and the money is Caitlin Clark. That's a Hall of Famer telling the suits to their face that they do not understand their own product.
Nobody who has brought in the bacon like Caitlin Clark, the tide that has lifted all boats. All these chicks is getting paid largely in part to the influx that Caitlin Clark has single-handedly, yes, I said it, single-handedly brought into this league. They should be bowing and saying thank you. Now, I feel like a large part of the reason WNBA GM said this is because of the fan base. Caitlin Clark, not only does she have a large fan base, she has a passionate fan base and a fan base that holds...
The receipts are stacked floor to ceiling. Teams that used to play in 6,000-seat practice gyms are now moving Fever Road games to NBA arenas. Washington moved a game to Capital One Arena. Atlanta moved a game to State Farm Arena. The Aces, Liberty, Sun, Wings, every single one of them sees revenue spikes when Indiana comes to town. The new media rights deal, worth roughly $2.2 billion over 11 years, was negotiated with one face on every projection slide. And it's not Paige Bueckers.
I've been saying with Caitlin Clark, rising tide lifts all boats. That's how I'm looking at it. I want to know this. I'm so glad I have you here with your wonderful self and your great career. Nobody's more qualified to answer this question than you. As we look at the WNBA, we know there's a lot of great players that preceded Caitlin Clark, that paved the way for the Caitlin Clarks, and they're to be respected and appreciated and all of this other stuff. But I was one of those people that felt Caitlin Clark should have been on Team USA. I was thinking about the profile of women's basketball, anything that could uplift the profile and give more notoriety and more shine to women basketball players.
Now watch Stephen A. pivot to the Team USA wound. Because this is the moment most WNBA legends tap dance around. Sue Bird gave diplomatic non-answers. Diana Taurasi made the rookie pay your dues comment that aged like milk in a July parking lot. Lisa Leslie is about to do something the others refuse to do.
How she should have been on
Caitlin Clark 1000% should have been on Team USA. The fact that she wasn't, it was stupid. It was haterism. It was BS. It was absolute baloney, man.
USA.
I don't think you were wrong. And if we roll back some of the tweets back when I said it, I don't know how we left the country without her. I said that because I felt like she is a game changer. She's moved the game and the needle in a way that we had not seen in women's basketball before. I thought she not necessarily earned a spot.
Correct.
But deserved to be there. And then, it's part of it is political. You get to pick whoever you want, but they chose to take Diana Taurasi, who got her 6th gold medal. Shout out to Diana Taurasi.
Stupid, haterism, BS, absolute baloney. Those are direct quotes from a 3-time MVP about the decision to leave Caitlin Clark off the Paris roster. And then she dropped the receipt. Diana Taurasi shot 6 for 19 across the gold medal tournament, chasing her 6th gold. The veteran the committee protected went 6 for 19, and the rookie who could have moved the global profile of women's basketball watched from her couch in Indianapolis. That's not a basketball decision. That's a sentimental one, and Lisa just said it out loud.
For them collectively.
I think Indiana Fever is going to be a solid team. I like that they have Monique Billings now, which had some depth on the inside. I think Kelsey Mitchell is a player who really could possibly win MVP this season because she is just that good. She had an awesome game and style of play with her ability to get to the basket, the crossover, the step back, nasty, getting to the rim. Like, she's one of those players that's really, really unstoppable, and I think she can take them far. But I know there's some other teams that's going to have something to say.
So she thinks the Indiana.
Now she shifts to roster analysis, and she's bullish on Kelsey Mitchell as a potential MVP candidate. The crossover is real. The step back is real. The ability to get downhill and finish at the rim is real. But there's a critical caveat Lisa didn't address, and the host of this breakdown is about to walk us straight into it. Because being a good scorer and being an MVP are two completely different conversations.
Indiana Fever have talent, and the thing is, Kelsey Mitchell can play, but Kelsey Mitchell, we just watched Kelsey Mitchell play 30 minutes where she didn't log a single assist, a single rebound. All she's doing is she's just out there getting up shots. And it's one thing to be, you know, a microwave scorer, and you look to score the ball, and that's your thing, and that's what you do. But at some point, you have to bring more to the table than just jacking up shots. And that's the difference between the Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Caitlin Clark can score the same amount of points as Kelsey Mitchell. But Caitlin Clark can also get you 15 assists. She can also get you 10 rebounds. It's way more.
This is the gap between potential and production. Kelsey Mitchell can score in volume. Kelsey Mitchell cannot run an offense. We just watched her log 30 minutes in a preseason game without recording a single assist or a single rebound. That is not an MVP profile. That is a microwave sixth-man profile in a starter's body. And it exposes the deeper Fever problem nobody at the league office wants to address.
Over and over and over and over and over again. Over and over again. When she decides she wants to do that, nah, no bueno. No bueno. It don't work. ISO Kelsey Mitchell taking 19 dribbles per possession. That is not it. When she's playing on 3 dribbles max and cutting and getting the back doors and catching shoots and attacking closeouts and all of that, that's when she becomes pretty much unguardable. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about what Lisa Leslie said in terms of these GMs. They should be fired. They don't know what the hell.
Let me set the table for everything that just happened, because this Lisa Leslie interview exposed something the WNBA has been hiding in plain sight for 2 full years. The general managers who selected Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark in that franchise player poll weren't making a basketball decision. They were making a peer pressure decision. They voted with the locker room, not with the spreadsheet. Bueckers averaged nearly 20 points a game across her UConn career, won a national championship in her final season, and is a generational talent in her own right. None of that is in dispute. What is in dispute is whether you can build a franchise around a player whose preseason debut in Dallas didn't fill a building that holds 6,000 people. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark filled Madison Square Garden last season for a regular season Fever game. The Dallas Wings sold half their own building for their own first overall pick. That is not a basketball argument, that is a calculator. Now layer in the fan base dynamic Lisa danced around but did not fully name. The Indiana Fever do not have a normal WNBA fan base anymore. They have an NFL-sized audience watching a basketball team. When Caitlin Clark missed time last season with a quad strain, viewership for her absence games dropped by roughly half compared to her active games. When she returned, ratings spiked to numbers the league had never produced in its entire history. That kind of audience comes with a kind of scrutiny WNBA front offices have never experienced and were clearly never prepared for. Every roster decision gets dissected on Twitter. Every coaching substitution gets autopsied on YouTube. Every press conference exchange gets clipped, looped, and weaponized. Christy Sides found that out in 2024 when her late-game lineup decisions became indefensible. She's gone now. Stephanie White is in, and the bar has been raised 3 feet higher than it was 12 months ago. Then there is the Team USA wound that still has not healed. The selection committee chose veterans for Paris, and the basketball case for some of those veterans was thin to non-existent. Diana Taurasi, at age 42, shooting 6 for 19 across the gold medal tournament, was not a basketball selection, it was a sentimental one. A farewell tour disguised as a roster decision. Lisa Leslie just confirmed that on national television, and that breaks an unwritten rule among WNBA legends. They protect each other publicly, they argue privately. Lisa just argued publicly, and she did it because the cost-benefit of the snub finally tipped. The growth Caitlin Clark would have brought to women's basketball in a global Olympic spotlight was incalculable, and the league traded that growth for one veteran's gold medal farewell. Taurasi got her ring. The WNBA got bad headlines, a fractured fan base, and a public relations hangover that still has not lifted. What makes this Lisa Leslie appearance significant is the timing. She did not say this in October when nothing was on the line. She said it now, with the 2026 season opener days away, with the new collective bargaining agreement being negotiated in real time, with Sophie Cunningham newly traded to Indiana to provide the physical protection Clark did not have her rookie year. Lisa is signaling to the league office, get this right, or the next generation of legends will not bother defending you. The old guard is splitting publicly, and the players who actually move revenue are watching which side wins. The Kelsey Mitchell question matters here too, and the host of this show identified it correctly. Mitchell scored in bunches last season as a player who needs the ball in her hands to function. That works as a complementary piece next to Clark. She becomes lethal as a catch-and-shoot weapon, a backdoor cutter, a closeout attacker, a secondary scorer who punishes defenses for overcommitting to number 22. It does not work as a primary creator on a championship team. The Indiana Fever cannot afford to give Mitchell extended isolation possessions that drain the shot clock and produce 0 assists. They have the best playmaker in the league wearing the same uniform. The offense should run through her. And every minute Mitchell decides to play hero ball is a minute Stephanie White is going to have to coach against her own roster. Add Sophie Cunningham to that equation. The Fever traded for her specifically because she is willing to put her body in front of teammates. The cheap shots Clark absorbed her rookie year. The hip check from Chennedy Carter that the league office had to upgrade after the fact. The box-out shove from Marina Mabrey, the hard fouls that went uncalled because no official in stripes wanted the assignment. Those moments are not going to happen this year without consequences. That changes the entire emotional tenor of Fever games. Add Monique Billings for interior depth. Add a roster constructed for the first time around what Caitlin Clark actually does best, instead of around what the previous front office wished she did. And that brings us all the way back to Lisa Leslie's central point. The general managers around this league have been making decisions that ignore the single player who is paying their salaries. The new media rights deal does not exist in its current form without Caitlin Clark. Charter flights do not exist without Caitlin Clark. The salary increases coming in the next CBA do not exist without Caitlin Clark. Every general manager who voted Buckers over Clark in a franchise player poll is voting against the person funding their own job. Lisa called them fireable, and she is not wrong, she is early. The first wave of accountability already arrived in Indianapolis when Christy Sides got walked out of the building. The second wave is coming, and it is going to land in front offices that voted with their feelings instead of with their fan base. So here's the question you need to sit with. If you are an owner in this league right now, do you side with the general managers who voted with their peers, or do you side with the Hall of Famer telling you those general managers are about to cost you money? You cannot say both. You have to pick. Drop your answer in the comments. Tell me which side you are taking. Tell me whether you think Stephanie White is the coach who finally gives Caitlin Clark a system that actually works. Tell me whether Kelsey Mitchell adjusts her game, or whether Indiana has another in-house tension brewing by July. If you got something out of this breakdown, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and stay locked in. We are tracking every move this Fever season makes, and the next chapter is about to get loud.